Hello friends, this is our 12th lecture on a defense of poetry by P.B.Shelley. In the last class we saw that the liberating effect of poetry upon society, the effect of poetry upon society, liberation. So that abolition of slavery, and abolition of slavery, personal slavery and domestic slavery, what happened is that women, they got their freedom. That's a liberation of women. Women's liberation, you can say. And as a result of this, began a new genre, that is poetry of sexual love. Poetry of sexual love. Sexual love means the love, the relationship between man and woman, that is considered as divine. Love became a religion, and the worship, the Apollo and Muses. Apollo and the Muses, they were enlivened, and they started walking among their worshippers. As a result of that, the world became more divine. So people, or we can say, we together, including myself and yourself, we can say that we were in a denizens or citizens of a diviner world. So a new paradise was created out of the wrecks of the Eden. A new paradise was created. A new paradise, a new sunshine, new moonlight nights, we can say. The proverbial troubadours, that is, they were singing, that is the French traveling poets. They went around singing the grief of love. The grief of love is, it will touch us more than the pleasures of love or the delights of love. So you can see that in certain films, see, like you might remember that film Choti Si Baat. Do you remember that? I don't know. You will find when the lover is absent, the beloved, the grief of love. She is suffering from a grief of love. There are many films like that. But this particular film I took because as an example, because it was a brand new type of films, we can say. Amal Palekar and Vidya Sinha, they were starring in that. They starred in that. They were the hero and the heroine. And now this is about grief of that. In that poem, the grief of love has a different shade altogether. It's not just there's some longing, so you can say. So that gives pleasure. Yes. Men became more amiable. They became wise. So wiser, we can say, men. And they became less selfish. True, isn't it? See, if you want to make a man less selfish, if you want to make a man wiser and amiable and friendly, what you have to do is, you have to either have a friendship, or either you have a friendship, a lasting friendship, or you get married. Then what will happen is that these people with the rough characters, they will become soft. It's a fact. There is no doubt about that. So you become less selfish, because you have to adjust. You have to make a lot of concessions. You have to forego a number of your pleasures, and so on and so forth. That is. And you can see that in history of poetry, you can see Dante, you can see Plato, you can see Petrarch, and these great poets. And a group of them in Greece and Rome and in Italy, a number of them. For example, the author of Orlando Furioso, Aristo, the author of Jerusalem Liberata, Tasso, see, the author of Fairy Queen, that is Spenser, and I need not tell you Shakespeare. He is a poet of love, isn't it? So, these were the great or shining stars in the firmament of poesy, if you want to put it that way. Some figurative language if you want to use. Dante's Vita Nuova. Dante. We'll take first Dante. Dante's Vita Nuova. Vita Nuova. Dante's Vita Nuova. Means new life, you can say. There is a text. Vita means life. From there we have got a vital are the vitamin and all this. So Vita Nuova is a text of godly love. It tells you, it brings before you the idealized history of his spirit, and also this is a dedication to love. You can further see the Divine Comedy Beatrice, the apotheosis of Beatrice, means giving a divine status to Beatrice in the paradise, his love for her and her loveliness, and the growth of his love, the gradation of his love. These things, whatever, the most glorious imagination in poetry. Dante's relationship with Beatrice, how he makes her a divine being, his love towards her, and the different grades of love that he felt towards her. Most glorious imagination in poetry. It is a perpetual hymn to everlasting love. I will repeat, it is a perpetual hymn to everlasting love poetry. And then further, if you go Plato, he was from top to bottom a poet. It's a love poet. He sang of love. We know only about Plato as a philosopher, but Plato also was a poet. So he was a poet you find a worthy poet in Plato. And that also about love he sang. Then there is about a chorus of great writers. And then about writing about love, singing about love, this love and the relationship between men and women. As a result, again, influence upon society, arms disappeared, superstitions disappeared, barbarism disappeared, slowly, not the whole thing. These things were drowned in the music of love, the music of romance and love. You have got at intervals writers, Italians, Aristo, Tasso. You have come across these names, no? Aristo, that is his Orlando Furioso. And then you have got, that is Orlando Furioso means Orlando is angry. Fury, that is it. Orlando is the name of a person. And then Tassos, Italians, both are Italians. Jerusalem Liberata means Jerusalem liberated, that's all. So that is the fight, imagination. It's a glorious imagination, the fight between the Muslims and the Christians. Wars of the Crusades, it has something to do with the wars of the Crusades. Again, it's about love, ultimately. Jerusalem liberated. And you have got then Tasso, Shakespeare. I need not tell you anything about Shakespeare, isn't it? And it's such famous lines as the "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" And you have got all about the Romeo and Juliet. It's all about love. See that? The budding love of young lovers. More than that, what you want, isn't it? Yeah. Then you have got Spencer, Calderon in Spain. Calderon, they all celebrated. Spencer celebrated love. Epithalamian, yes. So that is, and you have got Calderon, that is Spanish poet. All of them, they celebrated love. So what happens is that the relations between sexes is less misunderstood. Whereas in the opinion of, general opinion, you could find that the relations between sexes is not anything sin or anything to be prevented by the lawmakers or any such thing. What discipline? You understand it, you understand it in the right way. Then it takes up Dandy. Dandy, he is a bridge between ancient and modern world. He keeps Refuse in paradise. Refuse in paradise. About Refuse, well, Virgil said that he is the justissimo unus. Justissimus unus. Unus means one. Latin, unus, one. That is unum, unus, one. See, I believe in one God. In Latin you say credo in unum Deum. Unum, that is unanimous, comes from this. One voice. Unanimous, we say, unanimous. The report was passed unanimously, or with the unanimous vote. That means one voice, unus. The justissimus, the just, the most just, you can say. So, Refuse is called justissimus unus by Virgil. So, he placed him in paradise. And then you have got this love, everything is about love, see. If you take Milton, and what happens is that Shelley refers to that. Milton's Satan, he had no moral purpose in drawing the character of, no direct moral purpose in drawing the character of Satan. And it is said now, his sympathies were with Satan. Because he admired him, he had admiration for him. For what? Because his single-minded devotion to what he set out for. What was his intention? He thoroughly followed that particular project. That's the thing. What is the project, etc., I suppose you know. And I am not going to explain it here because this is not a class about paradise lost. Understand? And then what happened is, the character of Satan has been drawn in such a way that generations after generations of people feel sympathy. Sympathy is excited in the minds of the people when you read the character of Satan. So again, sympathy is kind of love, isn't it? And further you will find that Homer was the first epic poet, Dante was the second epic poet, and Milton was the third epic poet. In between you have great poets like Virgil. He was very modest and he was an imitator. You have got Lucretius. Lucretius, it is said that he was lost in sensual affairs. So he did not come up to that level. Then you have got Apollonius, a Greek philosopher and a poet. Calaber, you have a Greek philosopher and a Greek poet, epic poet. You have got Nonnus, again a Greek epic poet, and Lucan, a Roman poet, and you have Statius and Claudian. These are Roman poets. All of them, Shelley calls this group mockbirds. Why does he call them mockbirds? Because their language was sweet. What they sang about, that was also sweet. But none of them could fulfill even a single aspect of epic poetry. So he calls them mockbirds. They sang, their subject matter also was love. So what we are trying to find out today is how the liberation of women, that is caused by abolition of personal slavery and also domestic slavery, open the floodgates, you can say, of love poetry. And as a result of what happened, less misunderstanding, better relationship, constructive relationship, men, their character reformed, they became less barbarous, they became soft, they became amiable. And further you find this glorification of love in dandy, the most glorious imagination. That's what Shelley says about dandy's Beatrice and the paradise and his own experience. Then you have got Plato. Plato is the worthy poet of love. After that you have Milton. Even Milton is in a way considered as a love poet in Paradise Lost. Don't inverted commas love poet, since that he felt sympathy for Satan, and that sympathy has been generated after generations in the minds of generations of humans. So these things, they have a softening effect. What happens is superstitions drowned, arms drowned. Arms and the Men, famous play by Bernard Shaw. Arms drowned. Arms drowned means what? No need of any arms. Listen, Ayodhya, I told you once, none of my lectures. Ayodhya, a place where no Yodha. That means there is only love and friendship. Understand? Or we can say Ramaraj. The foundation stone of Ramaraj is laid when you have got love in the society. Irrespective of caste, creed, everything. For this, what you need is liberation. You need an abolition of slavery, as we have seen right from the beginning. And many poets, at intervals, also is a group of poets called the mock birds. Why are they called mock birds? Because they did not come up to the level of epic poets. So that's the reason. Then Dandy says his language was music and persuasion. He created a new language, see, and he awakened, entranced Europe. He was the president of the resurrection of learning. So that he president of that. And then you see his words were instinct with the spirit. Each one of his words was a spark. It was a burning atom, inexhaustible thought. A burning atom containing inexhaustible thought and meaning. So, and further if you go, you see all the high poetry is infinite. Dandy's poetry is infinite poetry. Just like Akon. This is Akon. A-C-O-R-N, Akon. Akon means oak nut. Oak nut. The nut of the oak tree. So what happens? In one nut, you have all the, that is, one nut contains all the oak trees in this world. Like that one poem contains all the love in this world. This is love poetry. Insatiable fountain of wisdom and delight. Insatiable. Dandy's poems, Dandy's poetry, you can say, insatiable, you find inexhaustible, not insatiable, inexhaustible fountain of wisdom and delight. You go on drinking. And he speaks about, Shelley gives a metaphor. He says, you remove veil after veil. Veil after means he tried to expose the words used by Dante, try again and again and explore it, excavate it, whatever you want to know, and put it in a laboratory and examine it, still you will find a residue of meaning left. Such were the words used by. The meaning never infinite. Yes. Dante's poems were infinite because the meanings of words were infinite. They were like a corn. A corn means opener that contains. And then you find this Dante was a singer of love. He's a singer of love. Just as we say in Hindi, we say no, Prem Gayak. Prem doesn't mean that you are. That doesn't mean the silly thing or what you find in the falling in love and all those things. Not that thing, but that serious. Not a silly thing practiced by young people without any seriousness. Not that. See that, for example, you see glorification. As you can see, Beatrice and Dandy, the relationship between Beatrice and Dandy. That is what you should understand when I say this. Not this, when I say he was a prema guy, that doesn't mean that say filmy love. Okay? Like people, sometimes what we can say, the hero is running after the heroine, and sometimes the heroine is running after the hero. They are running around a tree or something like that. Not that. No. Those things are not. You cannot even. I would say that those things you cannot consider when you speak about, or cannot even bring in such kind of things when you are speaking about the love between Dandy and Beatrice. Understand? Or the love songs of troubadours of Provencal. No. Or the love of Shakespeare, the love songs of Shakespeare. None of those. You cannot compare these things with what I just now told you. I am sorry if you have misunderstood. No, not at all. So what happened is that Dandy and all the great Homer, Dandy, Milton. The three great epic poets. And Shakespeare later, you can see. So they all sang about love. Singing about love songs, just got a soothing effect in society. People become loving. And then Apollo and the muses will be walking, coming to talk to you, and the world will become a diviner world. That is the kind of love that Shelley is imagining here, or Shelley is trying to impress upon us. Understand? Now after Dandy, Petrarch is another. Yes, Petrarch and Boccaccio. What happened is that there was a revival of painting, or sculpture and architecture. Now why do I say painting, sculpture and architecture? Because these are kindred arts. Means they are also in a general sense poetry. Chaucer's base, if we say base and superstructure, we speak of base and superstructure in cultural studies, isn't it? The Marxist view of culture, base is economics and superstructure is culture vision. Like that, you can say the base is Italian invention. Chaucer's writing, Chaucer's works, if you consider, you can say that without any doubt that the base is Italian invention and the superstructure is English. The base is Italian and superstructure is English. So that's what we can say about Chaucer. Now, toward the end of this discussion of this effects of poetry upon society, Shelley says that, oh sorry, I have forgotten all about the defense of poetry. I have just slipped into, there's a slippage here, slipped into the critical history of poetry. And so I say goodbye to critical history and we continue our journey with the defense of poetry. By saying this, he puts an end to this survey of poetry and the influence of poetry upon life of the people in the society. So we have seen a number of points about this, isn't it? We came across a number of poets, say right from ancient days, from Plato to the 16th century modern, that is up to Shakespeare. And what about metaphysicals? He has not mentioned that here. They also sang about courtly love and also love, personal. As you can see, one of the greatest singers of love probably is John Donne, isn't it? John Donne. So they sang about love. So religion is love. It's a love of God, isn't it? Sympathy for humans. So that is religion is love. So when you say about these poets are singers of love, that means this level, not the day-to-day romance that you find in films or filmy romance. And we are not talking about that. It has nothing to do with this. See, this is a higher plane, higher level, and we have got what is called, the world has to become diviner. The world has to become more divine by when the rays of love, eternal love, falls on this arid earth. There may be a desert, there may be arid, it is infertile, and it may be wasteland, but then it becomes fruitful, it becomes fertile, and it becomes a land of honey and milk and honey. It is transformed into the land of Canaan. The desert has, the desert without love can be transformed into a land of Canaan, where you have got to Canaan, where you have honey and milk flow. So that is the effect of poetry upon society. So the effect of poetry upon society. I think you have been following. In this session, what we found is that the most important poet that we discussed, in fact two. One of them is Dandy and the other is Milton. Milton comes in here, the reason is his sympathy. And that sympathy has generated sympathy in generations of humans. So that makes life more loving and more interesting. That is the reason why love is a religion. After this, love is a religion. Love is glorified. And there is less misunderstanding and more love. I hope that you have been following my words, my lectures or my words. Hope that you are getting some benefit out of this, and you are enjoying my classes. So we will continue. We will meet again with another dose of Defense of Poetry by Shelley. Till then, bye. Have a nice time. Enjoy your life. If you have time enough, subscribe now for updates. You can see this corner here. No? Subscribe now for updates. Don't wait for tomorrow. Also tell your friends and your colleagues and your classmates, so that they also get benefit out of what I have been doing so far. Continue with this again. Immediately after this, we will of course go on to Mathew, Cultural Anarchy and the Study of Poetry, and afterwards Joseph Lewis, T.S. Eliot, and all those new critics and things like that. Okay, so till then, bye. Have a nice day. Thank you.